everyone. Welcome to the Modern Human Podcast with your host, Wendy.
And Brenda. Hi, everyone.
Hey, we're so excited because the energy has been so amazing lately. So I feel like in some ways there's like a doorway opening, And with that doorway opening is just like this profound knowledge, this profound energy. And I love that we get to kind of dissect it and talk about it in a kind of a not trend-setting, it's not the right word, but
could be transcending. I mean, who are we to say, though, right? To us, it's
it's
in a
just
really
kind of
authentic, real way.
Like having conversations no one's ever had before. That's what I mean.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, that I know of. Like,
so very true.
Right. My very small world. But this week's...
we don't really have a set schedule yet. We're doing them as often as we can, whenever we can. So
whenever we feel called.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's profound. This episode is around this painting that I just channeled for the collective, which is called A New Era of Healing, which is so exciting. And so it's going to be, basically all the information, some of the information that came through, but obviously Brenda being the healer in the room, we're going to get her take on a lot of these things. And, I'm going to share with you the knowledge that I've been getting and the information that came through. And, it's just a kind of a beautiful topic. So would you say that you feel like we're in a new era of healing, or we're about to be?
100%. I feel like one of the things I'm hearing more and more is people talking about integrating with timelines, like integrating with frequencies or energies that serve us more, that are lighter. Many of us are moving out of this denseness, this hardship or suffering, and moving into this lightness of ease and abundance and peace and, kind of the tumultuousness. I know we've been talking about that for months, but no, it's truly just so joyful, so exciting. In so many ways, things are getting a lot easier, I feel, and yet for unresolved type things, I feel like we are kind of getting these little sparks of like, hey, by the way, unresolved something here and unresolved something there. Not to worry, not to stress, just lean in, move through it. It's pretty quick sometimes. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, I was really sick yesterday and today I'm perfectly fine. Okay, love it. Miracles.
Right. And that's basically some of the information that came through, was that we're entering into the age of miracles, which we already knew. But we talk a lot about this fourth dimensional expansion. What is that? I mean, it's really a consciousness that is being able to experience, or just being able to experience, let's say, 3 dimensions, right? And then you're consciously becoming aware of another dimensional. When we say conscious, it's not just in your thinking space, right? It's in your feeling space. You're moving into a dimensionality that's beyond what you've known before. So, and I feel like that's part of this epoch, or this new paradigm is, or why this age, or this timing about the spiritual awakening is so profound, is because it's like the Renaissance. It's like we are in this new era where we're beginning to expand into just more awareness of all of our parts.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that you channeled through this painting for this month, because I feel like one of the conversations that we haven't had enough of, and I am very excited that we get to have it here now, it's about our physical vessel. Kind of like what it means dimensionally to have the energies integrated into each and every cell, every strand of DNA. It's like we've talked about like how to move into those dimensions, and we've worked in them for, I don't even know if I can say decades, many years, but we work in it kind of in that third eye space, or that heart space, where we can emotionally expand into that, but then physically allowing our vessels to upgrade in this way. And yes, it affects all of those other nuanced spaces of your spirituality, your emotional traumas and things like that, but it really is about like, what does that mean for the vessel, for the skin cells or the organ cells or the blood cells, all the things that I am not an expert of, and yet I do get guidance, and I do work in those physical realms of upgrading in this particular 560 way. I would argue that we're even moving into 60 right now.
Yeah, because as soon as, I just know from my own exploration of consciousness, as soon as we're in and mastered the 4D, we're already aware of the 5D. Mm-hmm. And whenever we're mastering the 5D, we're beginning to become aware of the 6D. It's just...
Right. Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
So I feel like one of the main messages that came through when I was painting this is that it's definitely for anyone in the healing arts, right? So it's nurses, physicians, occupational therapists, massage workers, energy healers, anybody that's, I mean, it's any human being truly, but it primarily is almost like a calling card for those individuals to begin to recognize that we're entering in a new era of healing. And one of the fundamental parts of that is no longer compartmentalizing your being, no longer over intellectualizing the process of healing. And that does mean trusting your intuition. Like, we've never been here before. So even Reiki masters, right? Like, not just trusting you have to put your hands in this particular way. It's like it's time to take the training wheels off, and we need to start moving beyond what we've been doing, because we are entering a new era, which is things we've never done before. And that's going to take each individual that I just declared to trust themselves in a way that they haven't, maybe some of them, sure, but even moving beyond and integrating all of the parts. So it's not like getting rid of your intellect, but understanding the limitations of that, and then even understanding limitations of your intuition, right? You have to kind of, just like your whole being wellness program, it's like you have to look at all aspects of your being. And if you're not, like, almost like the house of the checks and balances in our government system, or how it's supposed to be, it's like all of those parts of you should be checking each other. So you don't just sit in the intuition without checking in with the intellect, without checking in with your body. It's like all of those.
Right, which is why healing is really balance. I mean, balance is actually, I feel, a more accurate word, because the justness of that, right? Everything is in alignment with self. And I hear you when you're talking about, like, all the healers and things, but to me, one of the things that stood out and came through when I knew that this was your topic for today is that our bodies are designed and meant to heal themselves, 100 billion%. You do not actually need anything or anyone outside of you to do any of that for you. You are allowed to bring back into balance your own being always, 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 no matter what.
And I definitely feel like that's part of this paradigm shift of, like, no longer relying on external validation, external. Somebody else doesn't get to tell you what's going on with your body, and they're the authority. It's like, no. And then really, like, looking at all the giants that have been here before us, like Louise Hay, and just, like, standing on the shoulders of giants, and just saying, they've already done this work and this research to show that, our emotions are a huge piece of the imbalance in our physical bodies, right? Like, this is not that episode, but that definitely has to be part of that conversation, right? Like, trusting that. And I definitely see there's this earth element here. And I feel like that is an important component here. It's almost like the mastery of the self, for sure. But, as we all know, there's this other part of the earth is awakening, and there's a recognition of consciousness in all things. So it's almost like in that, there's almost like this understanding of, almost like material reality itself that has to be understood to be able to shift it, or to get it to shift, or to get it into alignment instead of resisting.
What do you mean? Tell me more.
Like, it's like to me, this isn't about, it's about understanding that, like, the divine aspect of, like, the angelic realm is here, right? And you have the dragons here, which is the magic and the fire and the breath. And then you have the no thing space, which is the unknown, but also the divine feminine, and just the master of reality itself, of, like, death and rebirth, right? And then you have the embodiment of that, of the physical world, meaning, like, the physical world it shows you, just like your physical being shows you, when you're in or out of alignment. It's almost like you can't tap into the angelic realm and the dragon realm and this staff of, what is it called? Asclepius. So, here we have the rod of Asclepius, and this is based off of the Greek god of healing, truly. And he was meant to embody here on Earth, and he was known for his profound healing ability and basically be able to bring life back from death. ideally. And whether that's true or not, it's the tale. It's very, very old, and it was passed on by word of mouth of this ability, and why we have why it's here. So it's kind of like, obviously, a lot of the medical fields and the hospitals and use this symbol as a way of just honoring that process, which is so interesting in itself, right? That it's still here after all these years, all these thousands of years. And to me, it's a staff, right? So it's really grounding this divine energy, or this information. When I even say divine energy, it's like things that we don't really understand yet in science, right? And it's this idea of really rooting it and grounding it, and being able to kind of pull it into this dimensional plane. And hence why it's like almost like this doorway to the age of miracles,
For sure.
But it is this idea of utilizing this physical dimensional plane, like we have to be in coherence with it to be able to access. Wouldn't you say that's kind of what you do when you're healing your own body or helping heal others? It's like you don't bypass this three-dimensional plane, do you? Or what?
No, and I feel like what I would want people knowing right now is that it's actually about some very simple things. It's about openness. It's about faith. With the faith of a mustard seed, you can cultivate call to that. If you know that divine intervention is here, it is here. It is so. And so just allowing yourself to demand it in that alignment of self, but anchoring that in of like, no, you are allowed. I'm demanding balance now. I'm demanding health now because you're choosing it. Yes, it is those thoughts, but it's that feeling space or that spiritual space of I'm honoring whatever I'm moving through in all times and all spaces, and I'm demanding that balance exists in it all now, right? And it's not always one thing. Hold on. I'm feeling like that just was such a much bigger conversation. And I feel like one of my challenges in having this conversation right now is that we tend to get so much in our thinking selves. So we tend to like, no, I know. And I know it's a beautiful space to be. It's just all of it is like, is it our thinking self? Yes, it is. It's also the calming of that body of like, sitting here in this beautiful painting. It's so powerful. And how comfortable are you with your own essence? How comfortable are you with loving yourself? One of the things that came through for me when you first started talking about loving reality or loving life is like, I want to remind people, like, spend energy and time loving your car. Spend time and energy loving your home, your bedroom. Watch what happens. There's a consciousness to absolutely everything in this reality, everything. And the more love you bring, the more light you bring intentfully, the more everything is working in alignment to help you. So it's like, we can talk about this and say, okay, like just practice this one thing, but it's all of these things coming all together. Like how much of your energy is your day spent loving yourself, loving your life, looking for things to be grateful for, loving your body, honoring your vessels, blessing your water. A lot of our work when we go into retreats is like we'll ask people to bring their waters with them and love their water to fuel their body. And you can feel the energy of that water even building you up more than it would have if we didn't. Right?
Responding. It's
exactly
responding to our intention, yeah. Right. And that's what reality does, right?
Right, exactly. So in every way, I don't know if that really answered what you were asking.
Yeah, and I feel like it does. I mean, this is a way bigger conversation because partly, Brenda and I always have two different agendas, right? Her agenda is to help people and bridge it, and mine is to bring in new information. And part of it is, though you definitely bring in new information too. I don't want to say that, but
just like you help people heal, right?
Yeah,
of course,
exactly. It's this painting is embodying an energy that we really won't understand for like 100 years. It's literally like a concept that is just beginning to be birthed now, and so because to even get to this point, we have to be in alignment with self. And being in alignment with self means, we've shifted all of our thoughts from fear-based thoughts, from subconscious thoughts into conscious ones, where we've healed the trauma of not only this life, of other lives, right? It's really having an alignment of our thoughts and our feelings and all of our parts with our divinity within your heart space, which is that quantum aspect of your being, which means all of you knows that you are the light that you are, and you are a master creator of your reality. And right, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's like this embodiment. So you are, we are whole and complete, but we've learned, no matter, even if we are not physically experiencing that right now, we're always whole and complete. But our experience of that in this physical reality, right, shifts, or it's about really moving into this empowerment stage, or the sovereign state, where you are free in all ways to be the light that you are, and aligning everything with love and light, and expanding, right? So that's what this painting is. And then, because we can't even talk about really accessing that dimensional space where you can alter reality and create miracles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what this painting is holding. How to do that.
Yeah. You are the creator of every miracle, every one. With each other, with the oneness. Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to add, because of my role and my bridging of all of this, is like, it's really important to me that you don't add pressure to yourself for being wherever you are. Many of us are still experiencing things happening to us, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment of that. It's challenging to rise above and remember that we may have created this for some reason, or in some other timeline, we're having a different experience. You don't need to worry about those things. You don't need to know how to do any of this right now. Really, that's really not important. I would argue that the important thing is to just discover the love within. Love yourself through it. Find love in every given moment, and just grow from that. I mean, that's really what this is saying. Come back into balance of your authentic self, and you are love. Your thinking self, I feel, maybe someone has a thinking self that finds their way. Actually, you have a thinking self that finds your way to love always. So, see, she's a beautiful example of that. I do not find love through my thinking self. And I'm getting better every day at aligning all of those thoughts in alignment with my true loving self, being kind to myself, being positive to myself only, looking for things to be grateful for, noticing things that bring me joy and love everywhere. And my favorite thing to do is to just feel into that feeling of abundance, of peacefulness, of safety, of joy, of happiness. I love loving in that way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you scare me sometimes. I mean, you don't scare me, but, I feel like it could scare people sometimes, and just like, like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that, or oh my gosh.
I'm opening up, and I'm showing a reality, a potential of reality, and then you begin to notice where you are in relationship to that reality, sure. Right? So in your relationship to that reality, depending on where you're at, you're like, you might even think I'm full of shit, or you might feel like, oh my God, I'm so far from that, like I'm just still surviving my trauma, or maybe you're still in an abusive relationship, or maybe, whatever. There's no judgment, because you really are right where you need to be.
Yeah.
It's more like that's where new information becomes challenging, right? Because it's like, and it's exciting though. And in that way, I do want to say it's hopeful. Like everyone has the ability to heal anything that they want. I feel like, if anything, one of the takeaways I would want people to have is the hope and the power to create the reality that they want, even if they don't think that's possible. I'm telling you, it is, right? So at least there's a seed out there, there's a reality out there where somebody believes, or we believe, that you can heal your body no matter where you're at, and create the reality that you desire. This new era of healing is really this idea that we have so much help. The energy's here in ways that has not been here before, and so the speed at which you can move into these spaces of complete sovereignty can be very fast if you so choose, right?
And I do feel it's important to name one of the things. This is the first time I'm seeing you paint or channel through youthing. I mean, you're really talking about how to regenerate all those cells in a way that is youthing, where our bodies can live for hundreds of years on this planet. That's exciting. I mean, this is what we're doing right now.
Right.
We're not going to not get here. This is happening. We're doing this.
Yeah, and I wanna say thank you for bringing it up. Is this kind of knowledge used to be here on the planet. I mean, to a certain degree, and it's partly remembering that, and it has been kind of taken out of our history, like intentfully. So it is kind of coming back into and allowing this energy to kind of come forward, partly because we are in the information age and there's no stopping it now. But this kind of knowledge and this kind of magic, which is what they would say, or these kinds of abilities of alchemy, right, is like Merlin-esque times. It is, if you look at it, and I partly got some of this information, or I would say inspired by some of it, and I feel like it was just all synchronicities from that book, Isis Unveiled, which was written in the 1800s, which is a history of all the metaphysical, the history of the metaphysical kind of reality, but throughout time and space. So like from the Chaldeans to the Russians to the Chinese, like we're talking thousands of years ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, even up to the Greek times, of information that humanity has had around how to heal, how to create matter from nothing, information and technologies that have been kind of taken away from us. Not that it's a whole nother rabbit hole, that's a whole nother podcast, but Isis Unveiled is really this almost like a historical research book based on historical facts and data. It's a scientist that wrote the book. It was just really, really fascinating to say, wow, okay, yeah, the Chaldeans or the Essenes and, even, the Sumis or all of these different cultures that have added different layers of this knowledge, of this embodied knowledge.
Right, it was happening, and this wisdom is everywhere on the planet.
Right.
Like I think that's what's so powerful is that it's a part of the wholeness of us all, and so accessing
Exactly.
that, the information and the wisdom is here. It always has been here, and it's just opening up more. We're lighting it up. We're turning it on. We're saying yes to this, and it is as simple as that. Like I think that's what's important for me to share is like this is just a simple choose this. You don't even need to know anything about it. You don't just choose it. I'm youthing. I'm youthing right now. Now say that every single day and love it. Love it. Find joy when you have those moments of ecstasy. Choose youthing. Because that light of you is so powerful, and that's all it really takes. Choose love in that moment. I mean, intention is really everything. If you're showing up with integrity and love and in alignment, you can't fake it. Obedience is not enlightenment. You're allowed to choose love when you're feeling sad. You're allowed to choose love when you feel angry or resentful. It's just that resentment needs to be resolved or moved to the back seat or set a boundary with of saying no to self. It's not like you get to invalidate the resentment or say, oh, I'm not resentful. But meanwhile, everyone around you just feels this around you. And you're like, you're not angry? Are you sure about that? Right? Like this is the end of this era. We can't fake this anymore. I mean, I feel like that's a part of this. We're moving out of 2D black and white. You can't, that's never going to happen anymore. And in fact, I feel like this painting reminds us that if you're engaging in that type of system, the reality right now is going to kick your flippin' butt. Hardcore. Because if you think you haven't looked at something or something is out of balance, you're going to be helped to have these moments of these sparks of this, hey, look, take, just grab hold of this. And in fact, you don't even have a choice. It's going to grab hold of you. And then you're going to move through it as a gift of saying there's only help here, only goodness is happening. It's not good or bad to have challenges or imbalances. It's not. It doesn't work like that. Never has. So think about all the programming within our being that we are hardwired to think, oh, this one's good, this one's not good. I need to have this, or I need to not have that, or that's nothing. All of it is something to be curious about and to love. That was a lot.
No, I think it's perfect because, what you're saying in a different way is to hold this, to enter into the age of miracles, right? We do align everything with love. love is a sustainable system. But the difference is that does not mean that we're not honoring or holding our shadow, right? And if we are in the light, not owning our shadow, you're not going to be able to hold this. You're not going to be able to hold this kind of power. And I don't mean power in the way of domination, but power as in self-love and sovereignty. If you're in darkness or you're in fear-based thinking, honestly, we have gotten really far with power and control. I mean, that's what this hierarchy and this other paradigm, this victimization paradigm is all about. It's about fear. It's a fear-based system.
Yeah.
And so part of us moving into this is moving into a sustainable system. And a sustainable system means it doesn't take energy. It's not taking like the fear-based system is. It is self-sustaining, meaning the only way to really have that is to let go and to allow. It's a completely different paradigm. That's why we say it's a different paradigm, because it's like you're no longer doing and forcing, which what we've been taught for hundreds and thousands of years. So now we're moving into the space of like, oh my God, let's start utilizing the energies around us in an allowing way, in a harmonic way, right? In a symbiotic way, meaning like, I'm not going to move if it's denying you your right? Or I'm not going to be moving if it's killing somebody else's life force, right? Like killing the earth or whatever.
And I'm going to jump in only because I think that can be related to even self, like as if you go into problem solving, you're invalidating your emotions or your spiritual self or the gifts that could be in it for you, meaning you are having an experience that maybe you don't like, so then we want to problem solve out of it. That's getting out of balance within ourselves. So we want power and control over our feeling self, right? So I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel angry. So I'm going to problem solve it. I'm going to fix it all. So I'm going to manhandle it.
We're going to shut it down.
Shut it down.
We're going to avoid or deny
which is another form of power and control.
Exactly.
And that's not sustainable. It's a dysfunctional system of functioning.
Exactly.
And it leads to other things. So then we start, taking pills, or we have an imbalance with eating, or, we have unhealthy, toxic friendships. All the things start spiraling into other things. Never any judgment of any of those things. Those are all gifts to observe and be curious about ourselves and to shift and grow and change. You've got this. We've all got this. The way we go about this is going to be unique and different. I love that so much about you, Wendy, is that you're able to bring through all of this wisdom and this mastery in such a way that each and every one of us can take exactly what we need from it. It's not one pathway. You can clearly see that effortlessly. How powerful is that? That's what power is. That's that system that we're talking about right now, is that you're bringing in this system, this system of functioning of love. And it means each and every one of us have a unique way. We have our own ideas, our own thoughts about things, and we figure it out together with love. And it's going to be so flipping awesome what we come up with, because we're able to show up with power with each other of like, oh yes, I love this nuance of this, and what about this nuance that I'm holding, or this idea. And you and I model this too.
Like
you have
together.
A way of going about it, I have a way of going about it. It's very powerful that we can come together.
Right, moving out of right and wrong or only this way. And I feel like that's moving out, just growing up in general,
For sure.
I do think fundamentally we're talking about that, the world or reality itself is always working for our highest and greatest good.
Yeah.
I mean, we function in that with that premise. And so know that as we're speaking this, we do believe that reality's always showing us what it is that we need to come back to balance, to basically come back home, right? To the light that we are. So even if we're being triggered or we're having a negative experience, that's the part of us that is coming to the surface for us to love and to integrate and move into the space. That's partly what these spheres are. The spheres are dark matter, and it's almost like an element of science that we don't really understand yet. We just kind of label it as dark matter, but it's this idea of reality with the spheres where where reality itself is mirroring. So it's like the magnetics of reality. When we're having experience, it's a part of a karmic system. And what we're moving out of that, we're moving out of that magnetic system of the push and the pull. Because when you recognize that you're both the light and the dark, right, then the magnets no longer have the same hold, right? And that's kind of like moving into this, so pretty. Moving into this space where, oh wow, these are mirroring what it is that you need to see or know, But then when you recognize or wake up from the illusion of that, and that's partly what this is in your all things all at once, then you start tapping into the experience of the great I am in physical form, which is Christ consciousness, which is this new paradigm that we're heading into, or we're just beginning though. It's like we just opening the doors. Like the ticket booths are open and the door we're being
along.
sat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So I mean, depending on where you're at and whatever is you're attracted to in this conversation is exactly where you need to be or what you're meant to find or hear. And we have obviously other podcasts and we have retreats and things to help you integrate some of these things into your thinking self or even into your physical body of healing, and right?
Yeah. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your thoughts and feelings about all of this, because we need you. We need all of us to come together with these concepts. This is what's going to allow us to expand into the next evolution of all things.
Yeah. Super excited. This is just the first of many conversations. So
yeah,
we're excited to be here, and we're excited to share, and we're excited that you're here too.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
Yay. All right. Until next time.
Till next time.
Peace.